So recently, I've seen a lot of controversy about Cynthia Erivo playing Jesus in the Jesus Christ Superstar play, but between you and me, I kind of wanted to focus on a different aspect of the play that I feel isn't getting as much attention right now. Jesus Christ Superstar paints Judas in a much more sympathetic light. And recently, I've been seeing media that looks like it's gonna give more humanity to Judas, besides him just being the big bad. Judas Iscariot, most famously known for being the man who betrayed Jesus. But what really happened to him after his betrayal? First of all, I actually agree with depicting Judas as much more than just some diabolical villain and showing him in a more human light, because that's just what he was, a regular human just like you and me. But I wanted to make this video because there seems to be some confusion lately that I've seen online and even in some Christian spaces on what happened to Judas after his betrayal. Did he go to hell, or was he redeemed? I believe that what happened to Judas Iscariot was a tragedy, but that he was not redeemed. But it's not for a reason that a lot of people might think, and I'll explain why. Let's look at some of the main points of what the Bible says about Judas Iscariot. Judas was one of the 12 disciples chosen to follow Jesus. Judas was their treasurer and in charge of their money. Jesus said that it would have been better if his betrayer had never been born. Jesus also refers to Judas as a devil. But just a side note here, it's not the first time that Jesus has said something like this, as Jesus has also called Peter Satan when telling Peter off. So it's not like being called a devil or Satan is mutually just exclusive to Judas. Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Judas betrayed Jesus with a kiss. I feel like I shouldn't even need to say this, but kissing someone was a common greeting in Jewish culture, just like it still is in many cultures today, and was not anything romantic. So, please, let's get a grip. Judas regretted betraying Jesus, threw the silver coins that he had received back, and then killed himself. And finally, the disciples believed that Judas had gone where he belonged. So what we know is that Judas was close to Jesus and one of his 12 disciples. He betrayed Jesus for money. He felt so guilty for betraying Jesus that he killed himself. If Judas felt so guilty for betraying Jesus that he killed himself, why do I believe that Judas wasn't redeemed? Was it because he betrayed Jesus? No. If betraying Jesus was the crime that equaled hell, then we'd all be going to hell, because there's not a single person alive who has not betrayed Jesus. For everyone has sinned, we all fall short of God's glorious standard. So then, if Judas betraying Jesus was forgivable, then was it because of his suicide? No. I believe that in cases of suicide, it's between God and that person's heart. Only God will know if that person truly knew him or not. And I would consider suicide to be the sin of murder, but a person is murdering themselves rather than someone else. And murder is not an unforgivable crime to the Lord. In the Bible, one of the most prominent figures in the New Testament is Paul. Paul is a man who, before having a life-changing experience with Jesus, was responsible for hunting down, imprisoning, and killing followers of Christ. He was once a murderer who was saved through his faith in Jesus Christ. So if it wasn't because Judas betrayed Jesus that he was condemned, or because he committed suicide, then why do I believe he wasn't redeemed? He even felt so guilty about killing Jesus that he killed himself. But that's the thing. Feeling guilty that you've done something wrong does not mean you've been made right with the Lord. Imagine there's a father and a son. The son does something that wrongs and deeply hurts the father, and then later the son feels awful because he knows that he was wrong. But that's it. He never goes and talks with his father. They never make their relationship right. Feeling guilty on your own does not make you right with God. You become right with God by going to Him, confessing that you've done wrong, and believing that through His love, you have been made right with him. Judas knew that he had sinned by killing an innocent man, but I believe the true reason why he was not redeemed was that he could not believe that he could be redeemed. He ended his life after his betrayal without hope and in shame. That's why I believe that his story is a true tragedy. He was an ordinary human like you and me, but he believed that his sin was too great to be forgiven, and he didn't go to God or even simply wait 3 more days to see that Jesus had overcome the grave. He gave in to shame, and sadly, shame cannot save you. If you reject God's love because you believe your shame is too great, you are still rejecting him. There are 2 responses to feeling ashamed. We can run away from God or to him. Don't let shame separate you from him. He is always faithful even when we are not. Anyway, my main point is that Judas committed no greater crime than what any of us have committed in our own lives. We all sin and deserve to be separated from God, but God in his mercy gave us a way to be made right with him if only we come to him. Every sin is forgivable if we truly seek God's forgiveness and then trust that we've been forgiven. Maybe Judas had a moment with God that wasn't recorded in the Bible. Only God truly knows. But from what is recorded in the Bible, we can make the reasonable conclusion that Judas was not saved. Not because his sin was too great to be forgiven, but because he never returned to God to seek it. That's all I have for this video. This was kind of heavy. Not every video will be like this, but this was just something that I felt on my spirit that I had to talk about. Sin and shame may separate, but God has open arms for us, and by his grace and mercy, we can come to him to be forgiven and made clean. So, do you agree with me about what happened to Judas? Do you believe that God's love is greater than your shame? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Be encouraged, brothers and sisters, and let no one condemn what Christ has made clean. Bye!